And another 72-hour fast has begun, y'all. Yeah, but what goes on during fasting? What are the stages of fasting? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, this morning, wherever you find yourselves. Hey, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your healthy life, avoid complications, and go to the next level, y'all. This is how we do it. We're going to be sharing some data with you, sharing some information. You'll get to see what my blood sugars are doing. As we do here, we're going to go ahead and have you see what's going on with my meters, my reports. You see my Dexcom report on the screen. I've got my other monitors over here that we're going to use in a minute to check to see what my ketones are, what my blood sugars are, and we'll talk a little bit about fasting. Yeah, that's how we do it here on the channel, y'all. Welcome. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're able to join us this morning, this evening, wherever you find yourselves. So let's hop in like we do. I talk about what's going on with my physical, my mental, and my emotional health and how I'm feeling. So physically, y'all, I'm actually feeling pretty good. Right, so started the fast little over 29 hours now. We're going to be 30 hours here in just a little bit. But physically feeling well, feeling clear. Well, physically, go back for a minute. As you guys know, I've been having some allergy issues, and we'll be working through that here tonight as we get through the day. And, all of the allergy medications doesn't seem to be working right now. But that's okay. But other than that, physically feeling well, mentally feeling clear, and emotionally excited to be going through another fast with you. If you're out there and you are fasting, go ahead and let us know. And yeah, so let us know where you are. How many hours have you done? Have you done fasting before? Are you just finding this and kind of going through the process with us? We'd love to know that as well. Okay. All right. And then let's take a look at our blood sugar. You see there on the screen that my Libre right now says that my blood sugar is 81. Let's see what my Dexcom is showing us right now. So 84. So those are pretty close to each other. And then let's hop over and take a look at what my meters are showing. As you know, I have my Keto Mojo right here. I've got my Libre, not my Libre, but my Contour. And then, of course, our test strip. So let's go ahead and grab one of these. This is the Contour meter. And this is the one that we actually use in the office. So let's get a strip into that. If I can get it. There we go. And then, of course, our Keto Mojo. Let's get that one in there. Grab our Lancet and get a little stick there so we can get some blood. All right. So let's make sure. Let's see if we got. Did we get a good drop? Maybe not. Okay, let's see if this one will work here. Then we probably need to stick again. Huh? All right, so let's get another stick. Let's use a different finger. Okay, I think, yeah, that one works. And then one drop of blood here. Okay, so 73 for the Keto Mojo and 84 for the Contour. Let's go ahead and grab this strip out and put our ketone strip in. Yeah. And let's see what that one is showing. So that one will run. And I'm not going to actually show you that one quite yet. All right, so we're going to guess what that is like we do. While that's running, let's go ahead and we'll come back to that in a minute. So let's talk a little bit about the phases of fasting. And a lot of times you'll look and you'll see these phases kind of defined in different ways. And I think we went through and we talked a little bit about the pre-fast, the fast, and then the post-fast. We also talked a little bit about the different hours. And so what I want to do is go ahead and spend some time talking about breaking this down into hours, right? So we've got 8 to 14 hours, And 8 to 14 hours really is basically kind of the post-absorptive state. What does that mean? That means that you've eaten and the body is now digesting the food and it's beginning to break down the glycogen that's stored because you're not putting anything else in. Okay, so that's the 8 to 14 hours. Once we get from 14 to about 24 hours, we're starting to get into ketosis. The body stores of glycogen are going away, and we're starting now to begin to switch over to using ketones, right? Energy is going up because you're using ketones. As you know, when we switch over, there are certain parts of the body that like using ketones versus using carbohydrates. And then from 24 to 36 hours, we're in ketosis now, and we're beginning to burn fat. So the body has gotten rid of glycogen, the insulin levels are dropped, and once insulin levels go down, we begin working with ketones, and the body is now breaking down fat and converting that into this ready source of energy, which we call ketones. And then 36 to 48 hours, which is really the height of autophagy. You know, autophagy begins earlier, but is really, really ramping up during this process of, or these hours of 36 to 48 hours. As you know, autophagy is that process where the body begins to reclaim and begins to break down other components that it has for using ketones. And then 48 to 60 hours, insulin sensitivity can become improved, that is. And so your body is using, is able to process sugars better if there are sugars that come in, and some of it's broken down from the glycerol, from the triglycerides. And then, of course, 60 to 72 hours, that is, 60 to 72 hours, we get into the process of improving our immune system. And our immune system is ramped up, and that's why a lot of times we'll hear people say that fasting helps with immunity, because it begins to regenerate. These stem cells that might be in the system are regenerating, and they are healing different parts of the body during this these last phases, those last hours. And of course, if we go longer than that, then a lot of these processes just repeat and they become more enhanced. Like autophagy doesn't end at 48 hours. It continues. As a matter of fact, it begins before 48 hours, before 36 hours, and continues well beyond 48 hours. But this is just a breakdown of those stages so that you know what's kind of going on in the body, right? So stages of fasting. So 8 to 14 hours, the 14 to 24, 24 to 36, 36 to 48, 48 to 60. And then, of course, as we've been doing here on the show, we've been doing a 72-hour, that's 3 days, y'all, 72-hour fast. Yep. All right, so let's take a look at some of our graphs. Let me go ahead and pull this up so that we can see. And this is, right now, what you're going to see is my Libre report. Let's see. Let's do this one. Oh, so that's going to the website. Let's see. There we go. We went to our website there for a minute, but let's pop over. Here we are. All right. So let's take a look at what is going on here with our report. This is the Libre. And you'll see that the Libre says that my average blood sugar is about 95. And let me grab my mouse so you guys can see as I highlight. There you go. All right. So 95 is my average blood sugar right there. I am in target 88% of the time. Target being anywhere from 70 to 180. You'll see that there. And according to this system, if I continue with this blood sugar, then I would have a 5.6 A1C. That's the glucose management indicator. You see that there on the screen. Okay. All right. So let's hop over and let's scroll down and take a look at. Give me just a second here. There we are. Okay. So let's take a look at some actual days on the report. And I started fasting on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. So Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Today is Wednesday. So Tuesday right at this point. Right. And so that those blood sugars, I'm guessing, and we'll see a little bit more detail here in a minute when we get to the Dexcom report, maybe 100, 110. And then today at 6 o'clock, right here, we're just straddling about 70. And so we'll see what we are going into tomorrow. I expect to be below 70, so below the gray part. Okay. So let's hop over. Let's take a look at the Dexcom. And so the Dexcom right now says that my average blood sugar is 108, with target being in target 98% of the time. You'll see there. And the target, once again, is anywhere from 70 to 180. And this one says that if I continue with these numbers, then my average blood sugar will be 5.9. That's the glucose management indicator right there. And likewise, let's scroll and let's take a look at some actual days. And we started fasting on Tuesday right around 6 o'clock. And so you'll see there that the average blood sugar is 105. Right, the blood sugar at that time, 105. So right at 602, 106-ish. And then if I continue to today at 6 o'clock, you'll see we went from the 100s down into the 80s. So 88 right there at 602. Right? So beautiful. All right. So that is what that's what our blood sugars are showing based on our report. And so what do you think my ketones would be, y'all? What do you think my ketones were? And let me do it this way. I open up my Keto Mojo app, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and turn the Keto Mojo back on. Let's take the strip out. You won't be able to see it on the monitor, but let's go ahead and pull that over. And as that comes over, let's go ahead and sync. All right. And so pulling that data over, everything is in. And you'll see there that my blood sugar was 73 and my ketones are 0.5. 73 and 0.5. And y'all, yeah, I didn't hit the buzzer and hit the music, but we are now 30 hours, little over 30 hours and 10 minutes into the fast, the 72-hour fast for today. So down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see there that my glucose is 73, ketones are 0.5. And if I take a look at my graph, on the graph, the turquoise line that you see there, those are the ketones. And then, of course, the tan line, that's the blood sugar. And so when I was breaking my fast last week, you'll see the ketones were high, and let's see what they were. They're actually 4.2, glucose down there at the bottom of 64. And as I ate, the ketones went down, the glucose continues to go up, and got to a height there of 91, a low there of 0.1, which was yesterday at 6 o'clock, right? So 6 o'clock, my blood sugar was 10. What was that? Actually, let's see. Okay, so 91 here, and then on my monitor, you saw it was in the 100s, 110, 115, I believe. Actually, let's just take a look. Let's hop back over there. So right at 6 o'clock yesterday when I started, right here, yeah, about 115, 105-ish, 105, right in that area, okay? And then back to the graph. And then as I stopped eating yesterday, the ketones continued to rise. and the blood sugars drop. And then what we just saw a minute ago, ketones were it's 0.6, I believe, and then 0.5, and blood sugars of 73. Right. So talking about ketones, so ketones ketones below 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 is called therapeutic nutritional ketosis, and then 1.5 and above is considered therapeutic ketosis. So that's kind of the range of the ketones that we see as we move across the various phases of the fasting process. So first several hours are post-absorptive. You've eaten something, the body's absorbing the glucose, and 14 to 24 hours it's using the glucose. Insulin levels are dropping, the body's using up the glycogen. 24, 36 to 48 hours, that's where we started ketosis. We're burning fats now. We're getting into autophagy in earnest, and the body's really going after reclaiming those damaged cells. And then 48 to 60 hours, we've got increased insulin sensitivity. 60 to 72 hours, our immune system and our stem cells and regeneration and all the great things that we talked about there is what begins happening. Okay, and so we're always excited when I see those ketones, because that means that my body has switched from burning carbohydrates and it's now burning ketones, which is what's responsible, y'all, for the loss in fat, right? When our waistline goes down, that belly goes down, and we begin to see that we got to get some new clothes and we got to tighten that belt. All that stuff is happening because the body is now utilizing fat as its energy, because from the fat is where we get the ketones as we burn fat. So always excited when we see that. And that is the reason why a lot of times when I have come on, I said, hey, my blood sugar has been 70, it's been 60, it's been in the 60s all day. I don't feel lightheaded, dizzy. I don't feel weak, because the body has a ready source of energy. You think, oftentimes people think, hey, if I don't eat, I'm going to be weak and tired. Well, if you're still relying on carbohydrates, that is, you're doing not an extended fast, but you're doing a fast into those 16 to 18 hours, well, the body is still having to use carbohydrates. It hasn't switched over to the energy source of ketones yet. So as you continue to improve or continue to go into the ketone or the fasting process, then we start using ketones now, and when we use ketones, then our energy level does not fluctuate as you would expect. Okay, if you're not using that. Awesome. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how we do things here on the channel, on the show. As you know, our 3-step process. This is our triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. Education, that's all the shows that we do, the website, the podcast, the blog. All that information is to give you education, because you cannot change what you don't understand and what you don't know. Next, we empower by giving tools. One of the amazing tools that we've been using is this idea of fasting. We've talked a little bit about emotional intelligence. We talked about the 5 whys. How do we figure out what it is that we want to do, why we're doing what we're doing? We used our HEAT model, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So all of those tools are things that we don't just want to be on the shelf. Don't just listen to the show and say, oh, that's some good concepts, but I want you to begin implementing those, and that comes through implementing the tools. The HEAT model is a trigger, a model of triggers that force us to get off track, whether it's eating, if we're fasting, or staying up late, or turning to those things that soothe us, right? So habits, we just eat just because it's time. Everybody else is eating, those social cues. Emotions, we said don't be too angry, too lonely, too tired, too frustrated, too mad, too happy. So all those things, all those emotions will push us in the direction of eating or breaking the fast. Access, sometimes we eat just because things are there, y'all. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. One of the challenges we had in the month of March was to say, hey, figure out for yourself which one of these things are the ones that you succumb to the most. And I have to admit, that I succumb to 3 of them, right? The emotions, the access, and the taste. Those are mine. Probably in that order: emotions, access, and taste. And then, of course, taste, because the food that's created, the food that the manufacturers make, is not just with the intention of giving you nutrition, but how can I get that person to eat more, to want more, to go buy more? So the perfect combination of fat, sugar, and salt, right, called the bliss point. And that thing, yeah, when we eat the thing, it reminds us of some other memory, some emotion, some other thing that's going on. And these are the things that push us in a particular direction. And then, of course, our call to action, y'all. 1, join us here on the challenge. Join the challenges. As you see us talk about challenges, join them. Go ahead and work through them, because these are the tools, right? The implementation of the tools that will help you in the process of putting your diabetes in remission, getting off of diabetes medication. Our challenge for the month of April is to create a meal that fits these parameters, right? Create the meal that fits these parameters. Number 1, whole foods. We want to make sure that you're minimizing the processing that you have in your food. No added sugar. Right? We should have some starchy and some non-starchy vegetables. We want healthy fats and lean protein. We want it to be tasty, and we want you to have the appropriate portion sizes. So that's the challenge for the month of April. If you've not already done so, go ahead and begin doing that. Take some pictures of the meal you created. Do a video. Send it in to us at info@dwainwoodemd.com so we can share it with the rest of the community. So join the challenge. Number 2, show up. Show up and say hello when you're out there. Let us know that you're there. I do see some folks that are here. I do see Steve. Steve said, hey, you're doing a great job. So thank you, Steve. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us here. And then, of course, on Instagram, we've got some folks over there as well. We've got Karen and Fatka Central joined us as well. So thank you guys for being out there, hanging out. And then if you're on one of the other social media platforms, which we don't see readily coming up, we are on Twitter or X. We're on LinkedIn. We're streaming on Twitch. So all of those places right now, we are streaming, so you should be able to see all that information. Awesome. So back to our call to action, right? So show up, join the challenges, share your story, because when you share your story, when you're successful, we know that we can do it. And when we hear your challenges, we know that we are not alone. Invite somebody to the show, which is the last one, and let them know that we are here. Let them know that they can get better. They can get off their medication. Let them know that they are not alone. And maybe you just make a watch party and come on and watch all this information together. Okay? So always glad to be able to hang out with you guys. You saw what my monitors were showing there. My Keto Mojo is what you see on the screen. You see my Dexcom 87, and then my Libre right now, which is 80. And then if we take a look over at our screens, our reports here, you'll see that my average blood sugar is 108. That's for the last 2 weeks. Hey guys, gals, as always, I'm excited to be here with you. We do what we do like we do when we do it here, right? This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, we educate, empower, and encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level, creating the life you've always wanted. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. Good night, everybody.